Get your filthy hands off her, she's mine. The roar exploded from Luca Rossi's throat before his brain caught up. The wine bottle in his hand shattered against the wall mere inches from the man touching Olivia. His Olivia. She gasped, jumping from her seat as the stranger scrambled backward. Luca stood in the restaurant doorway, chest heaving, vision tunneling to that one moment, her fingers intertwined with another man's. 3 years. 3 goddamn years of pretending she was just his assistant, and now some stranger got to hold her hand, got to make her laugh. The beast inside him, the one he'd caged for her sake, finally broke free, and there was no going back. If you want to see how this explosive love story ignites into an all-out war hit, that subscribe button right now. Stay until the very end, because the twists will leave you breathless, and drop a comment telling me what city you are watching from. Let's see how far this story reaches. Now, let's dive into the chaos. The restaurant went silent. Every head turned. Every conversation died. And Olivia? God, Olivia stared at Luca like she'd never seen him before. Mr. Rossi. Her voice shook. Not from fear, from something else. Something that made Luca's blood sing even as his world crumbled. The stranger stood, frozen wine dripping from his expensive suit. Are you insane? You could have killed me. Could have. Luca stepped forward, and 3 of his men materialized from the shadows. Always watching, always ready. Still might. Luca stopped. Olivia moved between them, her hand on his chest, that touch. 3 years of stolen glances and professional distance, and now her palm burned through his shirt like a brand. What are you doing here? Taking what's mine. I'm not. You are. His hand covered hers, pressing it harder against his heart. You've always been mine, Olivia. I was just too much of a coward to claim you. The stranger found his voice. Olivia, who is this psycho? My boss, she whispered, her eyes never leaving Luca's face. Your Jesus Christ, is he always like this? No. Her voice dropped to something raw, broken. He's never like this. That's because Luca had spent 3 years building walls, crafting distance, pretending his heart didn't stop every time she walked into his office. But seeing her here dressed in that blue dress that hugged every curve, laughing with someone else, those walls exploded. Marco, Luca said quietly. Escort, mister. Ethan, the man squeaked. Ethan Clark, I'm a teacher. I don't want any trouble. Then leave, now. Marco's 6'4" of pure muscle smiled. It wasn't friendly. This way, sir. Ethan looked at Olivia, desperate. Are you okay? Do you need me to call? She doesn't need anything from you. Luca's voice could have cut glass. She has me. Olivia, please. Go, Ethan. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry, I can't just go. The teacher fled, Marco trailing him like a shadow. The restaurant remained frozen, everyone watching the scene unfold like a car crash in slow motion. Olivia yanked her hand away from Luca's chest. Outside. Now. She stormed toward the exit, and Luca followed, his heart hammering. She was furious. Good. Fury he could handle. Fury meant she felt something. The night air hit them like a slap. The street was empty except for Luca's men discreetly positioned at every corner. Olivia whirled on him, her eyes blazing. Have you lost your mind? Completely. That's not funny. You threw a bottle at an innocent man. Innocent? Luca laughed, the sound bitter. He was touching you. He was holding my hand on a date, a normal date that normal people have. You're not normal people. Luca closed the distance between them. You're mine. Stop saying that. She shoved his chest, but he didn't move. I'm not your property, Luca. I'm not some territory you can claim. Then what are you, your assistant? That's all I've ever been to you. Liar. The word hung between them, sharp and brutal. Olivia's breath caught. What did you just... You're lying. Luca's voice dropped to something dangerous, intimate. You're lying because the truth terrifies you as much as it terrifies me. I don't know what you're... 3 years, Olivia. 3 years of stolen glances when you thought I wasn't looking. 3 years of you bringing me coffee exactly how I like it, staying late, when I work, laughing at my terrible jokes that no one else finds funny. 3 years of you being the only person in my life who sees me, really sees me, and doesn't flinch. Stop. 3 years of me falling in love with you while pretending I wasn't. The confession exploded into the night air like a grenade. Olivia stumbled backward, her hand flying to her mouth. You don't mean that. I've never meant anything more in my life. You're possessive. You saw someone else interested in me, and now you want. I've wanted you since the moment you walked into my office 3 years ago and told me my filing system was a disaster. A smile tugged at his lips despite everything. You were wearing a black suit that was too big for you, and you had coffee stains on your sleeve, and I thought, this woman is going to destroy me. Luca. I was right, you have destroyed me, Olivia. Piece by piece, day by day. Every smile you give someone else, every time you leave my office at night, every moment I can't touch you, it kills me. Tears streamed down her face. Then why? Why did you push me away? Why did you let me think? Because I'm a coward. The words tasted like ash. Because men like me don't get happy endings. Because everyone I love gets hurt, and I can't. His voice broke. I can't watch you bleed because of me. That's not your choice to make. Yes, it is, Olivia. Do you know what happened tonight before I saw you here? He pulled out his phone, showed her the messages. 3 of my warehouses hit. 6 men dead. The Morettis are declaring war, and they'll look for any weakness, any vulnerability. She looked at the messages, her face paling. Oh, God. Yeah, so you see why. No. She lifted her eyes to his, and they were full of fire. No, I don't see. I don't see why you get to decide what risks I take. I don't see why you get to love me in secret and then act like you don't care. I don't see why, her voice shattered, why you let me waste 3 years thinking I wasn't enough. The words gutted him. Not enough, Olivia. I'm what, Luca, your assistant, your secret, the woman you follow to restaurants but won't actually date. You're everything. He grabbed her arms, desperate. You're the reason I get up in the morning. You're the voice in my head when I'm making decisions. You're the face I see before I fall asleep. He pressed his forehead to hers. You're my entire world, and that terrifies me. Why call him? Because worlds can end. They stood there breathing each other's air, the city moving around them like they were the only still point in the universe. I can't do this, Olivia whispered. I can't be your secret anymore. Then don't be. What? Luca pulled back his hands, framing her face. Don't be my secret. Be mine. Publicly, completely. Let everyone know that Olivia Chen belongs to Luca Rossi. You're insane. Your mother will have a stroke. The families will. I don't care. Yes, you do. You care about your empire, your reputation, I care about you more. The simple truth of it stopped her cold. Luca watched emotions war across her face. Hope, fear, anger, love. God, so much love, it made his chest ache. You hurt me, she said finally. 3 years, Luca. 3 years of watching you date other women. 3 years of scheduling your hookups, sending flowers to your conquests. Do you know what that did to me? I know, and I'm sorry, but Olivia. No. She pulled away, wrapping her arms around herself. I need to think. I can't just forgive 3 years because you had a jealous meltdown in a restaurant. Olivia, take me home. We need to talk. Home, Luca. Now. The drive to her apartment was silent. Marco drove while Luca and Olivia sat in the back, carefully not touching the air between them, crackling with unspoken words. When they pulled up, Olivia reached for the door handle. Wait. Luca grabbed her hand. Just wait. For what? Let me explain. Explain what? That you love me, but you're too scared to do anything about it. That I'm supposed to just accept being your dirty little secret. That's not, isn't it? She turned and her eyes were cold now, distant. You want me, but only in the shadows. You love me, but only when no one's looking. That's not love, Luca. That's cowardice. Then I'm a coward. His voice roughened. But I'm a coward who loves you, who would burn the world down for you, who just started a war with the Morettis because one of them looked at you wrong last month. Her eyes widened. What? You heard me. Giovanni Moretti's son at the charity gala. He made a comment about you and I. Luca smiled grimly. Let's just say that's why we're at war now. You started a mob war because someone insulted me. I've done worse for less. That's not romantic, Luca. That's psychotic. Maybe. He pulled her closer, his hand sliding into her hair. But it's who I am, and if you want me, you get all of me. The jealousy, the possessiveness, the violence. I can't change that. I'm not asking you to change. Then what are you asking? Honesty. The word burst out of her. I'm asking you to be honest with me, to stop hiding behind your fear and your reputation and your goddamn empire. I'm asking you to choose me, Luca, not in the dark, not in secret. Choose me in the light where everyone can see. And if that gets you killed, then at least I'll die knowing you loved me. The words hung between them, terrible and true. Luca stared at this woman, this incredible, infuriating, perfect woman, and felt something shift inside him. Okay. Okay, okay, I choose you, in the light, in front of everyone. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I choose you, Olivia Chen, and God help anyone who tries to take you from me. She kissed him back fierce and desperate, 3 years of denial pouring into that one moment. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. This is crazy, she whispered, completely. We're going to get hurt. Probably. Your family will never accept this. Don't care. Luca, I don't care, Olivia. I don't care about anything except you. So if you're with me, we do this right. No hiding, no secrets. She searched his face, looking for the lie, the hedge, the escape route he'd always kept open. But for the first time in 3 years, there was none. Okay, she breathed. Okay, Luca Rossi. Let's burn it all down. He pulled her back into the car, into his lap, and kissed her like a dying man. Marco very pointedly looked out the window. Boss, he said after a very long moment, should I drive around the block? No, Luca kept his eyes on Olivia. We're going to my place. Both of us, Olivia's eyebrow rose. Both of us. You're not sleeping alone tonight. Not with the Morettis active. Is that really why you want me at your place? No. His smile turned wicked, but it's a good excuse. She laughed, actually laughed, and something in Luca's chest unlocked. This. This was what he'd been missing. Not the sex, not the possession. Just her laughing in his arms, looking at him like he wasn't a monster. His phone buzzed. Antonio. Not now, Luca growled. Boss, it's urgent. The Morettis, they know about the girl. Everything inside Luca went cold. What? They know about your assistant. They're moving. When and now, Luca looked at Olivia, at her trusting eyes, her soft smile, and felt his world tilt. Marco, drive. Now, don't stop for anything. What's wrong? Olivia asked, but her voice already held fear. They know about you. Luca pulled his gun, checked the clip. The Morettis know you matter to me. How we just... The restaurant. It's owned by the Morettis. I was so focused on you, I didn't even check. He wanted to punch himself. Amateur mistake. Deadly mistake. They saw everything. Marco punched the gas and the car screamed through traffic. Behind them, headlights appeared, 2 cars black moving fast. We've got company, Marco shouted. Luca pushed Olivia down, covering her body with his. Stay down, don't move. Luca, I said don't move. The first bullet shattered the back window. Olivia screamed, and Luca felt something primal take over. He returned fire through the broken window, his shots precise, deadly. One car swerved, crashed, the other kept coming. Marco! I know, boss. Hold on. The car took a corner on 2 wheels. Olivia clung to Luca, her face buried in his chest, and he held her with one arm while firing with the other. This was why he tried to stay away, because his world was bullets and blood, and now she was in the middle of it. Safe house, Luca barked. The one in Brooklyn. That's 40 minutes away. I don't care. Lose them and get us there. Marco drove like a man possessed, weaving through traffic, running lights, taking side streets. The second car kept pace and Luca kept firing until his clip was empty. Out, he shouted. Antonio's voice crackled through the phone, still connected. Boss, I've got men en route to Brooklyn. They'll secure the house. Make it fast. The chase lasted 20 minutes that felt like hours. Finally, blessedly, Marco lost them in a maze of industrial streets. By the time they reached the safe house, Olivia was shaking and Luca's shirt was soaked with her tears. Come on, he said gently, helping her out. You're safe now. Safe? She laughed hysterically. Luca, they just tried to kill us. I know. You knew this would happen. I know. Then why? She shoved him hard. Why drag me into this? Why tell me you love me if this is what it means? Because I'm selfish. The words roared out of him. Because I love you more than I fear the consequences. Because even if it gets us both killed, I can't. I won't let you go. She stared at him, tears streaming, and he saw the exact moment she decided. Saw her choose him despite the danger, despite the fear, despite everything sensible. You're an idiot, she whispered. I know. I could have died. I wouldn't have let that happen. You can't control everything, Luca. Watch me. She kissed him, then hard and desperate, and he tasted salt and fear and love. When they broke apart, she said, if I'm doing this, if I'm really doing this, I need to know everything. Everything, everything, no secrets, no these. If I'm going to be with you, I need to know exactly what that means. Luca looked at this woman, this brave, foolish, perfect woman, and nodded. Okay, but inside, let's get you safe first. The safe house was actually a penthouse because Luca didn't do anything halfway. Antonio was already there with 4 men securing the perimeter. Boss, Antonio nodded. Then his eyes went to Olivia. Ma'am. This is Olivia, Luca said. She's everything, Olivia finished. Apparently I'm everything. Antonio's eyebrows rose, but he was too smart to comment. The Morettis have gone to ground. We're tracking them. Good. When you find them... Luca. Olivia's hand on his arm stopped him. Can we talk alone? Antonio and his men melted away, leaving them alone in the vast living room. Olivia stood at the window looking out at the city lights. My mother warned me about men like you, she said quietly. Smart woman. She said men who need control usually lost it somewhere, that they're trying to get it back. She turned. What did you lose, Luca? The question hit like a bullet. No one had ever asked him that. No one dared. My father, he said finally. I was 15. The Castellanos killed him in front of me, made me watch while they... He stopped, the memory still sharp after 20 years. I was powerless, completely powerless, and I swore I'd never feel that way again. So you built an empire on control? Yes. And now I'm threatening that control? Yes. She crossed to him, her hands on his chest. I don't want to control you, Luca. I just want to love you. That's more terrifying. I know, she smiled sadly, but that's what makes it real. He pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. I don't know how to do this, how to be normal. Good thing I'm not asking for normal. She pulled back, meeting his eyes. I'm asking for real, for honest, for you exactly as you are. Even the monster, especially the monster, because he's the one who'll keep me safe. Something in Luca's chest cracked open. 3 years of walls, of distance, of denial, but all of it crumbling under her acceptance. I love you, he said. God help me, I love you. I love you too. She kissed him softly, even though you're completely insane. Especially because I'm insane, he corrected, and she laughed. They stood there holding each other as the city buzzed below. And for the first time in 20 years, Luca Rossi felt peace. But peace never lasted in his world. His phone rang. Giovanni Moretti. Don't answer it, Olivia said. I have to. He answered, putting it on speaker. Rossi. Giovanni's voice was smooth-cultured, deadly. That was quite a show tonight. What do you want? The same thing you want. What's mine? She's not... Oh, I don't mean the girl, though she is lovely. No, I mean what you took from me. My shipments, my territory, my respect. You lost those when you tried to cheat me. Semantics, Giovanni laughed. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to return what's mine with interest, or I'm going to take what's yours, starting with that pretty little assistant. Luca's hand tightened on the phone. You touch her, you'll what kill me. You've been trying for years, Luca. What makes you think this time will be different? Because now I have something to lose. Exactly. Giovanni's voice turned sharp. That's what makes this fun. You've finally given me a weakness, and I'm going to exploit it until you break. The line went dead. Olivia's face was pale. He's going to keep coming. Yes. Until one of you is dead. Yes. Then we end it. Her voice turned hard. Tonight, we end this war before it really starts. Olivia, don't. She grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Don't protect me by shutting me out. If I'm in this, I'm in this. We're partners now, right? So let me help. You want to help me kill Giovanni Moretti? I want to help you survive. If that means Giovanni dies, then... She swallowed hard. Then that's what happens. Luca stared at her. This woman who'd just been shot at, who just learned the man she loved was a killer who was now volunteering to help him commit murder. You're sure? I'm terrified, but yes, I'm sure. He kissed her, pouring 3 years of love and need and possession into it. When they broke apart, he said, okay, but we do this smart, strategic. Tell me the plan. So he did. And as Olivia listened, asking sharp questions, offering insights, he hadn't considered Luca realized something. She wasn't just his weakness, she was his greatest weapon. Antonio, Luca called. His consigliere appeared. Boss, get everyone, we're going to war. About damn time, Antonio said with a grin. As his men mobilized, as plans formed, and weapons were distributed, Luca pulled Olivia aside one last time. Last chance to walk away, he said. I'm not going anywhere. Even if it gets ugly, especially then. She grabbed his gun, checked it like he'd seen Marco do 100 times. Because someone needs to watch your back. You know how to use that? My father was a cop. He taught me. She smiled grimly. I've been pretending to be helpless for 3 years, Luca, but I've never needed your protection. I just wanted your love. And there it was, the final piece clicking into place. She wasn't his damsel in distress. She was his equal, his partner in every sense of the word. Let's go kill Giovanni Moretti, Luca said. Lead the way, Olivia replied. And as they walked out together, the mafia boss and his assistant turned. Lover turned, partner turned warrior. Luca knew that whatever happened next, they'd face it together. No more secrets. No more hiding. No more pretending that what they had was anything less than everything. The war was just beginning. But they'd already won the only battle that mattered. They'd chosen each other. And in Luca's world, that was worth dying for. The Moretti compound sat like a fortress in the industrial district, all concrete and steel, and the kind of silence that came before violence. Luca watched it through binoculars from 3 blocks away, counting guards, mapping exits, calculating odds. 17 men visible, Antonio reported. Probably another 10 inside. 27 against our 30. Luca lowered the binoculars. I've had worse odds. Boss, maybe we should wait. Get more intel, more men. No. Luca's voice was ice. Giovanni threatened Olivia. He dies tonight. Beside him, Olivia checked her gun again. The motion was practiced, confident. Nothing like the nervous assistant who used to bring him coffee. You don't have to do this, Luca said quietly. Yes, I do. She met his eyes. He came after me. After us. I'm finishing this. Pride and terror warred in his chest. Stay behind me. At all times. Luca. That's the deal, Olivia. You want in, you follow my rules. She opened her mouth to argue, saw his face and nodded. Behind you, got it. Marco appeared from the shadows. South entrance is our best bet. Loading dock. Only 3 guards. Good. Antonio, take 15 men around the north side. Create a distraction. Marco, you're with me and Olivia. We go through the south. And the goal, Antonio asked, though they all knew the answer. Giovanni Moretti doesn't leave that building alive. They moved at midnight, shadows among shadows. Luca kept Olivia's hand in his, feeling her pulse race against his palm. She was scared, good fear became sharp, but she didn't hesitate. The first guard went down silently, Marco's knife finding his throat before he could shout. The second and third followed. Then they were inside and the real work began. Top floor, Luca whispered. Giovanni's office. They climbed the stairs, each step bringing them closer to war. At the 3rd floor landing, voices drifted down. Saw Rossi's car outside. He's here. Giovanni's waiting, wants to do this personal. A trap. Of course it was a trap. Giovanni knew Luca would come and he'd prepared accordingly. We keep going, Luca decided. Boss, if he knows. Then we give him what he wants. Me. Olivia's hand tightened on his. What are you talking about? Giovanni wants me, so I'll give myself to him. Walk right into his office. That's suicide. No. Luca smiled grimly. It's strategy. He's expecting an assault, a war, not me walking through his front door. I don't like this, Marco muttered. You don't have to like it. You just have to trust me. They reached the top floor. Giovanni's office was at the end of the hall, guards flanking the door. Luca straightened his jacket, checked his gun one last time, and walked forward. Mr. Rossi? One guard's eyes widened. You're expected, I know. Luca kept his hands visible. Tell Giovanni I'm here to negotiate. The guards exchanged glances. One spoke into a radio. A moment later, the office door opened. Giovanni Moretti sat behind a massive desk, a king in his castle. He was older than Luca by 15 years, with silver hair and eyes like a shark. When he smiled, it was all teeth. Luca, how good of you to visit. Let's skip the pleasantries. Luca walked to the desk, acutely aware of the 6 guards now behind him. You want your territory back. Fine, take it. Giovanni's smile faltered. What's the catch? You leave Olivia alone, completely, forever. You don't look at her, don't mention her name, don't even think about her. And in exchange, I get my shipping routes. Yes. Plus the port access. Yes. And the warehouses in Queens. Every last one. Giovanni leaned back, studying Luca like a bug under glass. You'd give up that much for one woman. I'd give up everything for her. Then you're a fool. Giovanni walked to the window. But I respect it. Deal. He extended his hand. Luca stared at it, every instinct screaming trap. But he had to try. Had to believe that maybe just once there could be peace. He shook Giovanni's hand and felt the gun press against his ribs. Did you really think it would be that easy? Giovanni whispered. That I'd just let you walk away? No, Luca smiled, but I hoped you'd try something this stupid. The window behind Giovanni shattered. Antonio's sniper round caught one guard in the head. Marco burst through the door, Olivia right behind him, and suddenly the office was chaos. Luca twisted, breaking Giovanni's grip, the gun falling. They crashed into the desk, both scrambling for weapons. Giovanni's fist caught Luca's jaw, stars exploding. Luca returned the favor, feeling bone crack under his knuckles. Around them, gunfire, shouting, the wet sounds of violence. But Luca's world narrowed to Giovanni, to this man who'd threatened Olivia, who'd tried to take everything. You should have accepted my deal. Luca growled, his hands around Giovanni's throat. You should have killed me years ago, Giovanni gasped, and his knee came up, catching Luca in the ribs. They rolled, grappling, decades of rivalry and hatred spilling out in blood and bruises. Giovanni got a hand on a letter opener, drove it toward Luca's eye. Luca caught his wrist, twisted, heard bones snap. Boss, Marco's shout cut through the haze. We gotta move. More Moretti men were coming, their footsteps thundering up the stairs. Antonio and his team had done their job, created chaos even in the odds, but they were still outnumbered. Luca looked at Giovanni, at this man who'd been his enemy for so long. One bullet would end it, one shot and the war was over. But Olivia's voice cut through his rage. Luca, we have to go. She was right. They'd accomplished the mission, shown the Morettis that attacking Olivia had consequences. Killing Giovanni now would only start a vendetta that would never end. This isn't over, Luca said, releasing Giovanni's throat. No, Giovanni wheezed, blood on his lips. It's just beginning. They ran, Marco leading Olivia in the middle, Luca taking up the rear. The stairs were a gauntlet, Moretti men appearing from every corner. Luca fired without thinking, muscle memory from 20 years of violence guiding each shot. A bullet grazed his shoulder, another punched through his thigh. Pain was distant, irrelevant. All that mattered was keeping Olivia safe. Cars around the corner, Marco shouted. They burst into the night and the car was there, engine running. Antonio at the wheel. They piled in bullets, pinging off metal, and then they were moving the compound, shrinking in the rearview mirror. Is everyone? Luca started, then saw the blood. Olivia's blood spreading across her side. No. I'm okay, she gasped, but her face was white. You're shot. His hand pressed against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. Antonio Hospital, now. Can't, boss. They'll be watching the hospitals. I don't care, she's bleeding out. Luca, Olivia's hand on his cheek, cold and shaking. The safe house. There's a doctor there, right? You people always have doctors. You people? Despite everything, Luca almost laughed. Yeah, we have a doctor. They made it to Brooklyn in record time, And Dr. Castellano, yes, related to those Castellanos, it was complicated, was already there. He took one look at Olivia and swore. Operating room, now. I'm staying with her, Luca said. No, you're not. You'll get in my way. The doctor physically pushed Luca back. Marco, keep him out here. I don't care if you have to shoot him. The door closed and Luca was alone with his thoughts, with the image of Olivia's blood on his hands, with the knowledge that he'd done this to her. It's not your fault, Antonio said quietly. Yes, it is. I brought her into this. I made her a target. She chose this. She knew the risks. She shouldn't have had to choose. Luca's fist punched the wall, leaving a dent. She should have stayed with that teacher, had a normal life, been safe. Boss, Marco's hand on his shoulder. She didn't want safe. She wanted you. 2 hours, the longest 2 hours of Luca's life. He paced, wearing a path in the carpet, ignored Antonio's attempts at conversation, refused the scotch someone offered. All he could do was wait and pray and promise God that if Olivia survived, he'd let her go. He'd do what he should have done from the beginning. He'd set her free. The operating room door opened. Dr. Castellano looked exhausted but satisfied. She'll live. Bullet went clean through, missed all the important bits. She'll be sore for a few weeks, but she's tough. She'll heal. Luca's legs gave out. He sat hard on the floor, head in his hands, and felt 3 years of tension finally break. Thank you, he whispered. Thank me by not getting her shot again. The doctor helped him up. She's asking for you. Olivia lay in a hospital bed that had been set up in one of the bedrooms, pale but alive. Her eyes found his and she smiled weakly. Hey yourself. He sat beside her, taking her hand carefully. You scared me. Good. Now you know how I felt watching you fight Giovanni. Her thumb rubbed his knuckles. Did we win? Define win. Did you kill him? No. Good. At his surprised look, she explained, if you'd killed him, there'd be a war. His son would have to avenge him, and it would never end. This way you made your point without making it personal. When did you get so smart about mob politics? I've been your assistant for 3 years, Luca. I pay attention. She winced, shifting slightly, though I could have done without the gunshot wound. Olivia, The words stuck in his throat. This was a mistake. All of it. You should go. Leave the city, start over somewhere safe. Her hand tightened on his. What are you talking about? You got shot because of me. You could have died. And it's only going to get worse. The Morettis won't stop. There will be others. There's always others. So your solution is to push me away again. My solution is to keep you alive. By breaking both our hearts. She struggled to sit up, ignoring the pain. Luca, I knew the risks. I chose this. You didn't know. I knew exactly. I've worked for you for 3 years. I've seen the violence, the danger, the constant threat, and I still chose you. Tears spilled over. So don't you dare try to save me by leaving me. That's not how this works. Then how does it work? His voice broke. Tell me, because I don't know. I don't know how to love you and keep you safe. I don't know how to be with you without putting a target on your back. You don't. She cupped his face, forcing him to look at her. You can't keep me completely safe, but you can let me choose you anyway. That's not good enough. It has to be, because that's life, Luca. It's messy and dangerous, and there are no guarantees. But I'd rather have one day with you than a lifetime with someone safe. He kissed her, then, careful of her injuries, tasting salt and love and stubbornness. When they broke apart, he pressed his forehead to hers. You're insane. I learned from the best. A knock at the door. Antonio poked his head in. Boss, we got a problem. Of course we do. Luca stood reluctantly. What now? Your mother's here. Every drop of blood drained from Luca's face. What? She heard about the shootout. She's downstairs and she's pissed. Olivia's eyes widened. Your mother, as in Carmela Rossi, matriarch of the family terror of Brooklyn, the woman who's been trying to marry me off for a decade. Luca ran a hand through his hair. Yeah, that mother. Maybe I should... No, he squeezed her hand. No more hiding. You're with me, remember. That means meeting my mother. While I'm bleeding in a hospital bed, she'll probably respect you more for it. Downstairs, Carmela Rossi stood in the living room like a queen surveying her domain. She was 65, tiny, and more terrifying than any mob boss Luca had ever met. When she saw him, her eyes flashed. Luca Dante Rossi, explain. Mama, don't mama me. I hear from Maria De Laurentiis that you walked out of a marriage negotiation. Then I hear you started a war with the Morettis. And now I arrive to find your home turned into a field hospital. She looked around at the guards, the weapons, the blood still being cleaned off the floor. What is happening? I'm in love. The room went silent. Carmela blinked. What? I'm in love. With my assistant. Her name is Olivia Chen, and she's upstairs recovering from a gunshot wound she got because of me, and I love her more than anything in this world. Carmela's face went through several emotions, shock, anger, curiosity, before settling on determination. I want to meet her. Mama, she's injured. Now, Luca. There was no arguing with that tone. Luca led his mother upstairs, praying that Olivia would forgive him for this. Carmela swept into the bedroom, took one look at Olivia, and her expression softened. You're the one who's stolen my son's heart. I wouldn't say stolen, Olivia said weakly. More like gradually convinced him he had one. Despite everything, Carmela smiled. What's your family background? Mama. Hush, Luca. I'm talking to the girl. She sat in the chair beside the bed. Well, my father was a police officer. My mother's a nurse. I have one sister, she's a teacher. Olivia met Carmela's eyes steadily. I'm not from your world, Mrs. Rossi. I don't come from money or power or connections. I'm just someone who loves your son. Do you know what it means to love a man like Luca? It means always being scared, always looking over your shoulder, never knowing if today's the day you lose him. Olivia's voice strengthened. But it also means being loved so completely that nothing else matters. It means having someone who'd burn the world down for you. It means she looked at Luca. It means having a partner who sees all your flaws and loves you anyway. Carmela studied her for a long moment. Then surprisingly, she took Olivia's hand. My husband was like Luca, fierce, protective, impossible. He died when Luca was 15, and I spent every day of our marriage terrified that he wouldn't come home. But I loved him. God help me, I loved him until my last breath. She squeezed Olivia's hand. If you love my son, truly love him, then you have my blessing. But understand, this life will ask everything of you. I know. And you're willing to pay that price. Yes, Carmela stood cross to Luca and slapped him. Hard. That's for being an idiot and waiting 3 years to tell this girl you loved her. Then she kissed his cheek. And that's for finally having the courage to claim her. Don't mess this up. Yes, Mama. Good. Now I'm going home. You're going to stay here and take care of your woman, and tomorrow you're coming to Sunday dinner. Both of you. Mama Olivia's injured. Then you'll carry her. I don't care. The family needs to meet her properly. At the door, Carmela turned back. Oh, and Luca. The De Laurentiis family is very upset. You'll need to smooth that over. I'll handle it. See that you do. And Olivia, Carmela smiled. Welcome to the family, dear. Try not to get shot again. It's terrible for the carpets. She left and Luca sagged against the wall. That went better than expected. Your mother just gave us her blessing and threatened me about the carpets in the same breath. That's Mama. Efficient. Olivia laughed, then winced. Ow. Don't make me laugh. He returned to her side, settling carefully on the bed. I'm sorry for all of this. Stop apologizing. I'm exactly where I want to be. Bleeding in a safe house. With you, everything else is just details. She yawned, the painkillers kicking in. Will you stay? Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Good. Her eyes drifted closed. Love you, Luca Rossi. Love you too, Olivia Chen. He held her hand as she slept, listening to her breathe, counting each breath like a blessing. Outside, his men patrolled. The city moved on. The Morettis plotted their revenge. But in this room, in this moment, there was peace. 3 days later, Olivia was strong enough to move. The doctor cleared her for light activity. No running, no fighting, definitely no more gunfights. So basically, my whole day is ruined, Olivia joked as Luca helped her down the stairs. You're hilarious. I try. They were heading back to Luca's penthouse. He'd tripled security, installed bulletproof glass, basically turned it into a fortress. But it was home and Olivia needed familiar surroundings. In the car, she asked the question he'd been dreading. What happens now? With the Morettis. We wait, they'll make a move eventually and we'll be ready. That's it. We just wait for them to try to kill us again. Welcome to my world. At her expression, he softened. Olivia, I'm working on a more permanent solution, but these things take time. What kind of solution? He hesitated. This was the part where he should lie, keep her innocent, protect her from the darker aspects of his business. But they'd promised honesty. I'm arranging a sit-down with the other families. Giovanni's getting old, making reckless moves. If I can convince the others that he's unstable, that he's bad for business, they might what vote him off the island, something like that. And if they don't, then we go to war, for real this time. She was quiet for a long moment, processing. I want to be there, at the sit-down. Absolutely not. Luca, Olivia, these men are old school. They don't believe women should be involved in business. Then it's time they learn differently. Her jaw set in that stubborn way he both loved and feared. I'm your partner now, right? That means I'm involved in all of it, even the parts that make you uncomfortable. This isn't about comfort, it's about safety. Everything with you is about safety. She turned to him. But I'm not some delicate flower you need to protect. I'm a woman who got shot defending you and survived. I think I've earned the right to sit at your table. He wanted to argue, wanted to lock her in the penthouse and keep her away from everything dangerous. But he'd promised to let her choose. Fine, but you follow my lead. You don't speak unless I give you permission. And if things go south, I run. I know. No, if things go south, you shoot first and run second. Her eyes widened. You want me to? I want you to survive. Whatever that takes. He pulled her close, careful of her wound. Promise me, Olivia. Promise that if it comes down to them, or you, you'll choose you. Only if you promise the same. That's different. No, it's not. You don't get to be reckless with your life and expect me to be careful with mine. We're in this together, remember? That means we both come home, or neither of us does. It was the kind of logic he couldn't argue with, didn't want to argue with. So he just held her and hoped that when the time came, they'd both have the strength to keep their promises. The sit-down was scheduled for the following week. 5 families, including the Rossis and Morettis. Neutral Ground, a restaurant in Little Italy that had hosted mob negotiations for 70 years. Luca spent the days preparing, calling in favors, making alliances, ensuring that when the vote came, he'd have the numbers. Antonio handled logistics, Marco trained the security team, and Olivia insisted on being involved in every step. You can't just walk in and call for a vote to remove Giovanni, she said, studying the family tree Luca had drawn. You need to build consensus first. Start with the Castellanos. They have been neutral, but they respect strength. Show them what Giovanni did, how he came after me, how he's escalating without cause. The Castellanos don't care about me, I know, but they care about stability, about business. Frame it as Giovanni being bad for everyone, not just you. Luca stared at her. How do you know all this? I've been managing your schedule for 3 years, Luca. I know who you meet with, what you discuss, how these relationships work. She smiled. You think I was just booking conference rooms? You've been studying us. I've been learning. There's a difference. She pointed to another name. The DeMarcos owe you for that thing with their shipment last year. Call that in. And the Russos, their daughter, just had a baby. Send a gift. A big one. Show that you're thinking about family, about the future. You're terrifying. I'm thorough. There's a difference. By the time the sit-down arrived, Luca had commitments from 3 of the 5 families. Giovanni would need a unanimous vote to maintain his position, and that was now impossible. They dressed for war disguised as dinner. Luca in his best suit, Olivia in a black dress that was all business with just a hint of danger. She moved carefully, still healing, but her spine was steel. Remember, Luca said as they pulled up to the restaurant, you're an observer. Let me handle the talking. Got it. Silent observer. I can do that. He didn't believe her for a second. Inside the private dining room was set up perfectly. Round tables, 6 chairs, one for each family head. Giovanni was already there looking smug. He stood when Luca entered. Rossi, and you brought your secretary. How quaint. She's my partner, Luca corrected. In all things. Your father would be ashamed. My father would have done the same if he'd found a woman worth fighting for. The other families filed in Castellano, DeMarco, Russo, and Leone. Old men, all of them with old ideas. They looked at Olivia like she was a curiosity. Shall we begin? Castellano said, taking his seat. Luca remained standing. Before we do, I want to address the elephant in the room. Giovanni Moretti has been escalating tensions unnecessarily, attacking my warehouses, targeting civilians. He looked at Olivia. Threatening women. This isn't how we do business. You started it, Giovanni shot back. You cut into my territory. Territory you lost fairly in negotiation. You're a sore loser, Giovanni, and it's making you reckless. I'm protecting what's mine. By starting a war that will cost all of us, Luca gestured to the others. The Moretti's instability is bad for business, bad for everyone at this table. So what are you proposing? Leone asked. That Giovanni steps back, retires, lets his son take over. Francesco is more level-headed, less emotional. He'll be better for the family and for our alliance. You want me to retire? Giovanni stood face red. I've given my life to this organization, and now it's time to rest. Luca's voice was gentle but firm. With honor, with your legacy intact, don't force us to remove you. You can't remove me. You don't have the votes. Actually, Castellano said quietly, he does. I'm voting with Rossi. As am I, DeMarco added. And I, Russo said. Giovanni looked around the table, finally seeing his empire crumble. Francesco, you're going to let them do this. Francesco Moretti, who'd been standing in the shadows, stepped forward. I'm sorry, Papa, but Luca's right. You've been reckless, and it's hurting the family. You're betraying me, your own father. I'm saving you. If you keep pushing, Rossi will kill you. We all know it. This way you live. You get to retire, see your grandchildren grow up. Francesco's voice broke. Please, Papa, take the deal. The fight went out of Giovanni all at once. He sagged into his chair, suddenly looking every one of his 70 years. Fine, he whispered. Fine, I'll retire. Effective immediately, Luca said. Francesco takes over tonight. Giovanni nodded, defeated. The other families stood shaking hands, making their exits. The sit-down was over. And Luca had won without firing a single shot. Outside, Olivia let out a breath she'd been holding. That was wow. You were right about all of it. The strategy, the alliances. He pulled her close. You're incredible, you know that. I have my moments. She kissed him, not caring who saw. Take me home, Rossi. I think we've earned a quiet night. They did. For the first time in weeks, they slept without fear, without looking over their shoulders, without expecting violence to come crashing through the door. But in the morning, everything changed. Luca woke to his phone ringing, Antonio frantic. Boss, turn on the news, now. He grabbed the remote, clicked on the TV, and felt his world tilt. The headline, Mob Boss Giovanni Moretti found dead apparent suicide. Beside him, Olivia sat up. Oh my God. It wasn't suicide, Luca said flatly. Someone killed him. But who would? She stopped, seeing his face. Francesco. Maybe. Or someone else who wanted to make it look like Francesco did it. He was already dressing, mind racing. This changes everything. If Francesco's accused of killing his own father, then the deal's off. The alliance crumbles and we're back to war. Worse than war, this will tear the families apart. His phone rang again. Francesco, his voice shaking. Luca, I swear I didn't. I know, but someone's framing you. Where are you now? Safe house. But Luca, my father's men, they're calling for my blood. They think I killed him for power. Did you? A long pause. No, I loved my father even when he was being an idiot. I would never. I believe you. Stay where you are. I'll figure this out. He hung up, looked at Olivia. Someone's playing us. The question is who and why. To start a war. To break the alliance. He stopped, a terrible thought forming. Or to distract us while they make their real move. Their move against what, Kyo? Against you. The words had barely left his mouth when the window shattered. But this time it wasn't bullets. It was a canister spewing gas, and Luca just had time to shout, "Run," before the world went dark. Luca's lungs burned. The gas filled his throat, his nose stealing oxygen and consciousness. He heard Olivia coughing, choking, and forced his body to move. His hand found hers in the smoke. "Hold your breath," he gasped, knowing it was already too late. The bedroom door crashed open. Men in gas masks swarmed in. Lucas swung blind, his fist connecting with something solid. Someone grunted, but there were too many. Hands grabbed him, dragged him down. "Olivia!" he shouted, but his voice was weak, fading. "Got her," a muffled voice said. "Boss wants them both alive." "Boss, which boss?" The question dissolved as darkness took him. He woke to the taste of copper and concrete. His head throbbed, his wrists burned. Zip ties. He was sitting in a metal chair, hands bound behind his back. The room was industrial, exposed pipes, concrete walls, the kind of place where screams wouldn't carry. "Luca." Olivia's voice cut through the fog. She was across from him, similarly bound, her face pale, but her eyes sharp. Alert, looking for exits, for weapons, for any advantage. "Are you hurt?" he asked. "Besides my pride, no." She tested her restraints. "Professional job. Whoever took us knew what they were doing." "Where's your wound? Did they—" "It's fine, sore but fine." She met his eyes. "We're going to get out of this." "Damn right we are." A door opened. Footsteps echoed, slow and deliberate. A figure emerged from the shadows, and Luca's blood turned to ice. "Hello, nephew." Uncle Salvatore, his father's brother, the man who disappeared 20 years ago after accusations of betrayal. The man everyone assumed was dead. "Surprised?" Salvatore smiled. It was Luca's father's smile twisted into something cruel. "You should see your face." "You're dead," Luca said flatly. "I went to your funeral." "You went to an empty casket's funeral." "I've been very much alive, Luca, just biding my time." 20 years. You waited 20 years for what? Revenge?" "Not revenge. Justice, Guayamo." Salvatore circled them like a shark. "Your father took everything from me. My position, my respect, my life. He accused me of betrayal when I was the only loyal one. You were stealing from the family. I was taking what was rightfully mine." Salvatore's composure cracked. "I built half that empire, and he cast me out like garbage. So yes, I've waited, watched, planned, and now," he gestured to Luca and Olivia, "now I take everything from him the way he took everything from me. My father's dead. You can't hurt him." "No, but I can hurt you." Salvatore's eyes shifted to Olivia. "And her, the woman who finally broke through the ice around your heart. The weakness I've been waiting for." Luca's restraints bit into his wrists as he strained forward. "Touch her and I'll—" "You'll what? You're tied to a chair, Luca. You are powerless, just like your father made me powerless." Salvatore pulled out a knife, tested its edge. "But don't worry, I'm not going to kill her. Not yet. First, I want you to watch her suffer. Want you to feel what I felt." "You sick." "Am I?" Salvatore laughed. "Or am I just a man who understands that the only way to truly destroy someone is to take what they love most?" He moved toward Olivia, and Luca went insane. He threw his weight against the chair, trying to break it, break free, break anything. The chair rocked but held. "Luca, stop!" Olivia's voice cut through his rage. "You're going to hurt yourself." "I can't. I won't let him. Look at me." She waited until his eyes met hers. "I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. You need to stay calm." "How can you be calm when he's—" "Because one of us has to think clearly, and you're too busy losing your mind." Despite everything, she smiled. "So I'll be the rational one. Just this once." Salvatore paused, studying her. "You're not afraid." "Oh, I'm terrified," Olivia said conversationally. "But fear doesn't help. So I'm compartmentalizing." "Compartmentalizing." Salvatore seemed almost amused. "You're not what I expected." "Yeah, I get that a lot. People see the assistant thing and assume I'm just some helpless—" Her legs swept up the chair, tipping forward, and she slammed her forehead into Salvatore's nose. Blood exploded. He staggered back, swearing, and Olivia twisted, using the momentum to flip herself in the chair. She landed hard on her back, the chair shattering beneath her. Her hands were still bound, but now she had pieces of wood, sharp-pointed pieces. "Luca, duck!" He threw himself sideways as she hurled a wooden shard like a dart. It whistled past his ear and embedded in the throat of a guard he hadn't seen behind him. The man dropped, gurgling. "How did you?" Luca started. "Later move." She rolled, came up with the dead guard's knife, and cut her zip ties. Then she was at Luca's chair, sawing through his restraints, while Salvatore screamed for backup. I thought you were compartmentalizing, Luca said as his hands came free. I lied. I was planning. She pressed the knife into his hand. Now move. They ran. The warehouse was a maze of corridors and locked doors. Behind them, shouts and footsteps. Ahead, unknown territory. Luca pulled Olivia left and right, following instinct more than knowledge. Do you know where you're going? She panted. Not even a little bit. Great, wing it. That's always worked so well for us. Despite everything, he laughed. We're not dead yet. Key word being yet, look out. Two guards rounded the corner. Luca took the first one, his knife finding ribs, then kidney. The man dropped. The second guard grabbed Olivia, and she stomped his instep, drove her elbow into his solar plexus, then used his own momentum to flip him over her hip. Judo, she explained at Luca's stare. My dad made me take it. Your cop, Dad. Yeah, he said any daughter of his needed to know how to break a man's arm. She grabbed the fallen guard's gun. Looks like he was right. They kept moving, found stairs, climbed, burst through a door into night air. They were on a roof. The city sprawled below them, lights and life and safety just out of reach. There, Olivia pointed to a fire escape, but Salvatore's voice stopped them. Going somewhere. He stood in the doorway they just exited, flanked by 6 men, all armed, all pointing weapons at Luca and Olivia. It's over, Salvatore said. There's nowhere left to run. Luca stepped in front of Olivia. Let her go. Your problem is with me. My problem is with your bloodline. She's part of that now. She has nothing to do with... She has everything to do with it. Salvatore moved closer. You love her. That's the point. That's what makes this perfect. Your father loved your mother, and I watched him choose her over everything. Over me, over the family, over loyalty. And now you've made the same mistake. Loving someone isn't a mistake. It is when it makes you weak. Then I'm weak. Luca's hand found Olivia's behind his back, squeezed. And I don't care. You will, when you watch her die. Salvatore raised his gun, and everything happened at once. Luca moved to shield Olivia. She shoved him aside, bringing up her stolen weapon. Gunfire erupted, but not from Salvatore's gun. From below, Antonio and Marco burst onto the roof, a dozen men behind them. They'd found them. Somehow they'd tracked them and found them. The roof became a war zone. Bullets flew, men dropped. Luca grabbed Olivia, dragged her behind a ventilation unit as the world exploded around them. How did they find us? She shouted over the gunfire. I don't know. I don't care. He checked her over frantically. Are you hid? No, you... What? No. Marco reached them, breathing hard. Boss, we need to move. This whole place is about to be swarming with cops. Where's Salvatore? Gone, slipped away in the chaos. Of course he did. Luca's uncle was nothing if not a survivor. Then we go too. Now. They climbed down the fire escape, Antonio's team covering their retreat. Cars waited at street level. They piled in, and Marco drove like he was qualifying for NASCAR. How did you find us? Luca asked. Tracker in Olivia's necklace, Antonio said. You put it there 3 months ago, remember? Luca had forgotten. But 3 months ago, after a scare with the Russos, he'd insisted on multiple tracking methods. Olivia had agreed to the necklace because it was pretty and didn't look like security. Good thinking, Olivia said, touching the silver chain. 3 months ago, Luca was smart. 3 months ago, Luca didn't know you'd be breaking chairs over people's heads and doing judo throws. I'm full of surprises. Clearly. They made it to a different safe house, this one in Queens, owned by the Castellanos. Neutral ground. Safe ground. For now, inside, Luca finally let himself breathe. Okay, Salvatore's alive. He's been planning this for 20 years. He killed Giovanni to frame Francesco and destabilize the families. And he wants me dead or worse. Worse being, Marco asked, watching everyone I love die first. The room went quiet. Antonio poured scotch for everyone. Even Olivia took a glass, though she usually didn't drink. So what's the play? Marco asked. We find him. We end this. He's been hiding successfully for 20 years, boss. How are we supposed to find him in a few days? Because now he's revealed himself. He's making moves. That means he's vulnerable. Luca's mind raced. Antonio, reach out to our contacts in the police. See if anyone spotted Salvatore. Marco, check the old properties. Places my father used to own. Salvatore might be holed up in one of them. And you? Antonio asked. I'm going to talk to my mother. If anyone knows where Salvatore might hide, it's her. Olivia stood. I'm coming with you. Olivia, don't even start. Your uncle just tried to kill us both. I'm not letting you out of my sight. There was no arguing with that tone. Fine, but we take 6 guards. 8. Deal. Carmela Rossi's house was a fortress disguised as a brownstone. Luca had bought it for her 10 years ago, installed the best security money could buy. Now he was grateful for it. She opened the door before they could knock, her face drawn. I heard, she said, come in. Inside, she poured coffee with shaking hands. Luca had never seen his mother shake. You knew, he said quietly. You knew Salvatore was alive. I suspected. Carmela said heavily. There were signs over the years, money moving that shouldn't have been, deals falling through in ways that felt deliberate, but I had no proof. Why didn't you tell me? Because I hoped I was wrong. Because the idea of your uncle, your father's own brother, being alive and plotting against us was too terrible to accept. She pressed her hands to her face. I should have said something. I should have warned you. Olivia crossed to her, knelt beside her chair. Mrs. Rossi, this isn't your fault. Isn't it? I knew something was wrong and I said nothing. You didn't know for sure. You can't blame yourself for not seeing the impossible. Carmela touched Olivia's cheek. You're good for him. You make him better. I try. Where would he hide? Luca asked. Where would Salvatore go that we haven't thought of? Carmela was quiet for a long moment. Then the marina, your grandfather's old boat. It's been sitting there for 30 years abandoned. No one remembers it exists except family. Luca stood. That's it. That's where he is. Luca, be careful. Salvatore was always the smart one. If you walk into a trap, then I spring it. But I'm not letting him threaten my family anymore. They left Carmela with 4 guards and instructions to not open the door for anyone. Then they headed to the marina, Marco and Antonio assembling a team as they drove. This feels like a trap, Olivia said. It is a trap. And we're walking into it anyway. Sometimes the only way to disarm a trap is to trigger it on your terms, not the enemy's. That's either very wise or very stupid. Let's hope it's the first one. The marina was quiet at 2 a.m. Boats bobbed in their slips, water lapping against hulls. Luca's grandfather's boat, the Lucia Maria named for his grandmother, sat at the far end, looking decrepit and forgotten. Lights are on, Marco observed. He wants us to know he's here. Luca checked his gun. He's making a statement. What kind of statement? That he's not afraid of us. They approached carefully, weapons drawn. The boat didn't move, didn't react, just sat there lit from within waiting. Luca boarded first, his footsteps loud on the deck. The cabin door was open. Inside, Salvatore sat at a table, a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses in front of him. I wondered how long it would take you, he said. Sit. I'm fine standing. Suit yourself. Though I should mention there are explosives wired throughout this boat. If my heart stops, they detonate. So perhaps you'll want to hear what I have to say before you shoot me. Luca's finger itched on the trigger. Talk. Your father stole my life, but I'm a reasonable man. I don't need to destroy you to feel justice has been served. What do you want? Everything you have. Your territory, your businesses, your money. Sign it all over to me and I'll let you and your woman live. You expect me to believe you'll just let us walk away. I expect you to understand that you have no choice. Salvatore poured whiskey. You care about her more than you care about power, so choose. Your empire or her life. You're bluffing about the explosives. Am I? Salvatore held up a trigger. Would you like to test that theory? Outside, Olivia's voice crackled through the earpiece Luca wore. He's not bluffing. I can see wires from here. Professional job. Luca's mind raced. If he gave Salvatore everything, the man would never stop, would hunt them to the ends of the earth out of paranoia. But if he refused, they'd all die right here. Luca, Salvatore said gently, your father loved power more than anything. More than family, more than loyalty. Don't make his mistake. Choose love. Choose life. You're right, Luca said. My father did love power, but he also taught me something else. What's that? Never negotiate with terrorists. He dove through the cabin window as gunfire erupted. Marco and Antonio stormed the boat from both sides. Salvatore screamed, his finger pressing the trigger. Nothing happened. Antonio held up a small device. Jammer. We disabled your detonator 5 minutes ago. Salvatore's face went white. No, that's not possible. Luca stood brushing off glass. You've been gone 20 years, Uncle. Technology's improved. And so have I. You can't do this. I'm family. You stopped being family the moment you chose revenge over blood. Luca raised his gun. This is for my father. For all the years you let us think you were dead. For threatening Olivia. Luca, wait. Salvatore held up his hands. I have information about the families, about deals, about... I don't care. He pulled the trigger. Salvatore fell, shock written across his face. He'd expected mercy, expected family ties to mean something. But family worked both ways, and Salvatore had broken that bond 20 years ago. Outside, Olivia waited on the dock. When Luca emerged, she searched his face. Is it done? It's done. She pulled him into her arms, and he held her like she was the only solid thing in a world gone mad. Around them, Marco's team disposed of evidence, made calls, set things right. What now? She whispered. Now we go home. Try to sleep. Start rebuilding what Salvatore broke. And us. He pulled back to look at her. Olivia, after everything we've been through, you're still asking about us. I need to hear you say it. Say what? That this is real. That we're real. That I'm not just, her voice broke, that I'm not just the collateral damage in your family's war. Collateral damage. He cupped her face, made her look at him. Olivia, you're the reason I'm still standing. You're the reason I didn't become my father, didn't choose power over everything else. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. You're my everything. And that terrifies me and thrills me in equal measure. Good. Because you're stuck with me now. Promise, Bess. They drove home as the sun rose, painting the city gold. Luca's penthouse had never looked more beautiful, or more like a sanctuary. Inside, Olivia headed straight for the shower. Luca started to follow, but his phone rang. Francesco Moretti. My father's death, Francesco said without preamble. It was your uncle, wasn't it? Yes. Thank you for clearing my name, he hesitated. For giving me a chance to lead without starting a war. Just don't make me regret it. I won't. The Morettis owe you a debt, Rossi. We don't forget that. It was as close to friendship as mob families got. Luca would take it. He found Olivia in the bathroom, steam filling the space. She looked up as he entered, water streaming down her face, and smiled. Took you long enough. Had to save the world one more time. My hero. She pulled him under the spray, not caring that he was still dressed. Now save me from this terrible loneliness. He kissed her, tasting water and relief and the promise of tomorrow. His clothes came off piece by piece, dropped to the tile, forgotten. There was only this, her skin against his, her breath mixing with his, her love wrapping around him like armor. I love you, he said against her lips. I love you too, even though you're completely insane. We established that already. Just wanted to make sure you remembered. They made love under the water, urgent and desperate, and so full of relief it was almost painful. They'd survived. Against all odds, against Salvatore's plans, against the violence that defined Luca's world, they'd survived. Afterward, wrapped in towels and each other, they collapsed into bed. Luca expected nightmares, expected to wake up swinging at shadows. But instead, he slept better than he had in years. Because Olivia was there, her head on his chest, her breathing steady and sure. He woke to afternoon light and the smell of coffee. Olivia stood at the window, wrapped in his shirt, watching the city. You're thinking too loud, he said. She turned, smiled. Just wondering what comes next. What do you want to come next? Honestly, something boring. Dinner dates, movie nights, normal couple stuff. I can do normal. No, you can't. She crossed to the bed, sat beside him. But I love you anyway. We could leave, he said suddenly. Get out of this life. Take the money we have and disappear. Change our names, start over somewhere no one knows us. Could you really do that? Walk away from everything you've built. He thought about it, really thought about it. The empire, the power, the respect, all of it bought with blood and violence. Was it worth more than the woman in front of him? Yes, he said. For you, I'd walk away from everything. Tears filled her eyes. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. And also the most terrifying, because I know you mean it. So, so I'm not asking you to choose. I don't want you to resent me 20 years from now because you gave up your legacy for me. I could never resent you. You say that now, but Luca, this is who you are, the business, the family, She gestured vaguely. The mob boss thing. I knew that when I fell for you. I'm not asking you to change. Then what are you asking? I'm asking you to let me in. Completely. No more protecting me from the hard parts. No more trying to keep me separate from your world. If I'm going to be with you, I'm going to be with all of you. You want to be involved in the business? I want to be your partner. In everything. He stared at her, this woman who'd gone from bringing him coffee to breaking chairs over his enemies' heads, who'd taken a bullet for him and then helped him plan a mob sit-down, who loved him despite or maybe because of the monster he was. Okay, he said. Okay, Ma. Okay, you're in completely. Partners in everything. She kissed him fierce and possessive. Don't make me regret this. I could say the same to you. Fair point. The next week was a blur of activity. Francesco formally took over the Moretti family and immediately opened negotiations with Luca for a lasting peace. The other families, seeing the change in leadership, fell in line. The territory disputes that had plagued the city for months resolved themselves almost overnight. And Olivia Chen, once just an assistant, became Luca Rossi's right hand in every sense of the word. She sat in on meetings, offered strategies, became the voice of reason when Luca's temper ran hot. You're terrifying them, Antonio said after one particularly intense negotiation where Olivia had decimated the Russos' proposal with cold logic and hard numbers. Good, Olivia replied. They should be terrified. We're not here to make friends. Luca had never been more proud or more in love. But success bred its own problems. Carmela called one Sunday, her voice tight. The families are talking, Luca, about you and Olivia, about how you're letting the woman, an outsider, influence your decisions. Let them talk. It's more than talk. Some of the old guard are saying you've gone soft, that you're weak because you love her. Then they don't understand love. He looked at Olivia, who was cooking breakfast and absolutely murdering a rendition of some pop song. Love doesn't make you weak. It makes you fight harder because you have something worth protecting. I hope you're right, because if they decide you're vulnerable, they'll come for us, I know. He smiled grimly. Let them try. But when the attack came, it wasn't from another family. It was from inside his own. Marco called at 3 a.m. Boss, we have a problem. Someone's been skimming from the accounts. A lot. For months. Who? That's the thing. The trail leads back to, Marco hesitated, to Antonio. Luca's blood went cold. Antonio had been his consigliere for 15 years. His friend, his brother, in everything but blood. You're sure? The evidence is solid. But boss, something feels off. It's too clean, too obvious. Meaning maybe it's a frame job, like what happened with Francesco. Set up a meeting, everyone. Tomorrow night, I want to look Antonio in the eye when I ask him about this. He hung up and Olivia was already awake watching him. What happened? He told her. She listened, her face thoughtful. It's a trap, she said finally. I know. But you're going anyway. I have to. If Antonio's innocent, I owe him the chance to clear his name. If he's guilty, Luca's jaw tightened. Then I deal with it. We deal with it, she corrected. Remember, partners. The meeting was at a warehouse in Brooklyn. Luca brought 20 men. Antonio was already there, looking confused and angry. Boss, I don't know what you've heard, but sit down, Antonio. Luca, sit down. Antonio sat. Marco presented the evidence, wire transfers, doctored books, money flowing to offshore accounts. All of it pointing to Antonio. This is bullshit, Antonio said. Someone's setting me up. That's what Francesco said about his father's death. And he was telling the truth just like I am. Luca wanted to believe him, wanted to ignore the evidence and trust his friend. But he'd made that mistake with Salvatore. Hadn't seen the betrayal until it was too late. Prove it, he said. Prove you didn't take that money. How, how do I prove a negative? The evidence is fake, but I can't. Antonio stopped. Wait, the offshore accounts. When were they open? Marco checked his files. 6 months ago. I was in the hospital 6 months ago. Car accident, remember? I was unconscious for 3 days in recovery for 2 weeks. There's no way I could have opened accounts during that time. It was true. Luca had visited Antonio in the hospital, worried his friend wouldn't make it. So someone used that time to set you up, Olivia said. Who had access to your information, your passwords, your accounts? Only 3 people. You, Marco, and Antonio's face went white. And my assistant, Carla. Where is she now? Luca asked. I don't know. She called in sick yesterday. Find her, now. It took Marco 4 hours. He found Carla at the airport trying to board a flight to the Cayman Islands. They brought her back to the warehouse and she broke immediately. The Russos, she sobbed. They approached me 6 months ago, said they'd pay me to frame Antonio to create division in your ranks. I needed the money. My daughter's sick. You betrayed us, Luca said flatly. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. He looked at Antonio. It's your call. She worked for you. Antonio stared at Carla, this woman who'd served him coffee every morning, who'd organized his life, who'd sold him out for money. Prison, he said finally. Turn her over to the cops. Let the system deal with her. It was mercy, more mercy than most would have shown. Carla was taken away, still crying, and the warehouse emptied until only Luca, Olivia, Antonio, and Marco remained. I'm sorry, Luca said. I should have trusted you. You were protecting the family, I get it. Antonio managed a smile. Besides, Olivia had my back. She knew something was wrong before anyone else. I've learned to recognize frame jobs, Olivia said dryly. Comes with the territory. They laughed, the tension breaking. But Luca knew this was just another battle in a war that would never truly end. There would always be someone trying to tear them down to find their weakness to exploit their love. But standing there surrounded by the people he trusted most, Luca realized something. His love for Olivia wasn't a weakness. It was the thing that made him stronger than he'd ever been. Because now he wasn't just fighting for power or respect or territory. He was fighting for a future, for a life that meant something beyond violence and blood. He was fighting for love, and that was worth any war. 3 months of peace felt like a lifetime in an instant all at once. Luca had never experienced quiet like this. No assassination attempts, no territory wars, no betrayals lurking around every corner. Just business meetings, family dinners, and Olivia falling asleep on his chest every night. It was terrifying how much he'd grown to need it. You're doing it again, Olivia said without looking up from her laptop. They were in his office, her at the conference table, him at his desk, working in comfortable silence. Doing what? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. You've checked your phone 12 times in the past hour. Have not. Luca, she finally looked up. I can hear you thinking from over here. What's wrong? Everything. Nothing. He didn't know how to explain that happiness made him nervous. That peace felt like the calm before a storm. The Russos are being too quiet, he said finally, because you exposed their scheme with Carla. They're licking their wounds. Or planning something bigger. Or maybe, and hear me out here, maybe they learned their lesson. She closed her laptop. Come here. Olivia. Now Rossi. He obeyed, crossing to her. She pulled him down onto the couch, positioning herself in his lap. You need to breathe, she said, her hands on his face. You've spent 20 years looking over your shoulder. It's okay to just exist sometimes. I don't know how to do that. Then I'll teach you. She kissed him softly. Starting now, no work for the rest of the day. We're going to do something absolutely wild and crazy. What's that? Act like a normal couple, maybe catch a movie, get dinner somewhere that doesn't require armed guards. That's not safe. Life's not safe, but I refuse to live in a cage anymore, even a gilded one. Her eyes challenged him. So what's it going to be? Continue being paranoid or trust that maybe we've earned a little peace? He wanted to argue, wanted to explain all the ways this could go wrong. But the hope in her eyes stopped him. One movie, he conceded, but Marco drives us and we take 2 guards. Deal. They chose an action movie, something mindless and explosive. Halfway through, Olivia's hand found his in the dark. This is nice, she whispered. It is. We should do it more often. We should. Luca. Hmm. Thank you for trying. He squeezed her hand throat tight. She had no idea what she'd given him, this glimpse of normalcy, this taste of what life could be if he wasn't constantly at war. They left the theater to find Marco on his phone, face grim. Boss, we got a situation. The piece shattered like glass. What kind of situation? The feds. They just raided 3 of our warehouses, seized everything, product records and all of it. How did they know? Luca stopped. Another betrayal. Another mole. Get Antonio. Get everyone. We need to move now. In the car, Olivia was already on her phone pulling up accounts, checking for digital footprints. If there's a mole, they would have needed access to our shipping schedules. That's only 5 people, Luca finished. Me, you, Antonio, Marco, and Vincent. Vincent's your accountant, right? Quiet guy, been with you for 8 years. Yeah, why? Because according to this, he just purchased a beach house in Florida. Cash. $3 million. Luca's hands clenched. Vincent. They found him at his apartment, already packing. He looked up as Luca and Marco entered, and all the color drained from his face. Mr. Rossi, I can explain. The feds got to you. How much did they pay? Or are they threatening you with prison time? Vincent's hands shook. Both. They said I could keep some of the money if I cooperated. And if I didn't, I'd spend the rest of my life in jail. So you sold us out. I'm sorry, I have kids. A wife I couldn't. You have kids. Luca's voice went deadly quiet. So do my men. The ones who are going to go to prison because of you. The ones whose families will suffer because you chose yourself over them. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice, Vincent. You just made the wrong one. Marco moved forward, but Olivia's voice stopped him. Wait. She stepped into the apartment, studying Vincent with sharp eyes. How long have the feds been pressuring you? 6 months. They approached me after he stopped. After what? Olivia pressed. After someone else approached me first. Offered me money to help them from the inside. I said no, and then suddenly the feds showed up with evidence of tax fraud. Evidence you didn't commit, Luca asked. I swear I'm clean, or I was, until they forced me. Vincent's face crumpled. Someone set me up and then used that setup to turn me. Who approached you first? Olivia demanded. I don't know. It was a phone call, voice disguised. They said they wanted to help the organization, that they were concerned about security. When I refused, that's when everything went wrong. Luca exchanged looks with Marco. This wasn't random. This was orchestrated. The feds, Olivia said slowly, they raided the warehouses, but did they actually arrest anyone? Marco checked his phone. No, they seized product and records, but no arrests yet. Because they're building a case, Vincent said miserably. They told me they wanted enough evidence to bring down the entire organization. Not just soldiers, but the top. They want you, Mr. Rossi. Then let them come. Luca pulled out his phone. I'm done running, done hiding. If they want me, they can try to take me. Luca, wait. Olivia grabbed his arm. Think about this. If you go to war with the feds, you lose. There's no scenario where that ends well. So what do you suggest? I just surrender? No, I suggest we play their game better than they do. She turned to Vincent. You said they wanted you to keep informing. Did you give them everything? Not everything. I held some things back, tried to minimize the damage. Good. Then here's what we're going to do. She looked at Luca. Vincent keeps cooperating, but we feed them information we want them to have. Lead them in circles while we clean house. Use him as a double agent. Marco whistled. That's risky. Everything's risky. But if we cut Vincent off now, the feds know we found their mole. This way, we control the narrative. Luca studied her, this woman who kept surprising him with her strategic mind. And Vincent, why would he agree to this? Because if he doesn't, Marco here will ensure his kids grow up without a father. Olivia's voice was ice. But if he does this right, if he helps us, then maybe we'll let him disappear after this is over. New name, new life, far away from here. Vincent's eyes filled with hope and terror. You'd really let me go? I'd rather kill you, Luca said honestly. But Olivia's plan is better, so you have a one chance. Screw this up and there's nowhere on earth you can hide from me. I won't. I swear I won't. They left Vincent with instructions and terror, both of which would keep him in line. In the car, Luca pulled Olivia close. When did you get so ruthless? I learned from the best. She kissed his jaw. Besides, someone has to think clearly when you're ready to start shooting feds. I wasn't going to shoot them. Your hand was on your gun. Habit. She laughed and the sound eased something in his chest. They'd survived another crisis. Not with violence, but with strategy. With partnership. At home, Carmela was waiting with dinner and worry. I heard about the raids. Is it handled? For now, Luca said. Good. Sit. Eat. You both look terrible. She fussed over them, loading plates with pasta and sauce and love. Olivia, you're too thin. Are you eating? Your son keeps me busy, Mrs. Rossi. Call me Carmela. You're family now. She paused, studying Olivia's face. Have you two thought about making it official? Luca choked on his wine. Mama. What? I'm old. I want grandchildren before I die. You're 65 and healthier than me. Details, Carmela waved her hand. But really, Luca, you love this girl. She loves you. Why wait? Because every day someone's trying to kill us, Olivia offered. All the more reason to grab happiness while you can. Carmela's eyes were sad. I lost your father too soon. Don't make his mistake of waiting for the perfect moment. There's no such thing. After dinner alone in Luca's bedroom, Olivia brought it up again. She's not wrong, you know. About marriage. About not waiting. Olivia sat on the bed, pulling him to stand between her knees. I'm not saying we need to get married tomorrow. But Luca, we've been through hell together. We've been shot at, kidnapped, betrayed. If we can survive all that we can survive anything. That's exactly why we should wait. Until things are stable. Things will never be stable. Not in your world. She pulled him down to her level. So either we accept that and move forward anyway, or we spend our whole lives waiting for a safe moment that will never come. I can't ask you to marry me while the feds are building a case against me. Why not? Because you deserve better. You deserve a proposal that's not overshadowed by the possibility that I might go to prison. I deserve, she pushed him back standing. Let me tell you what I deserve, Luca Rossi. I deserve a partner who trusts me to make my own decisions. I deserve honesty about the risks and the choice to take them anyway. What I don't deserve is you deciding what's best for me, like I'm some fragile thing that might break. That's not what I'm. Ned, you're so busy trying to protect me that you're pushing me away again. Tears filled her eyes. I thought we were past this. We are. Then prove it. Stop trying to shield me from your life and just let me live it with you. She grabbed his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. I love you, all of you. The mob boss, the killer, the man who's terrified of losing me. I love every broken, violent, beautiful part of you. So stop pushing me away and just let me in. The words broke something inside him. All the walls he'd rebuilt, all the distance he'd tried to maintain, it crumbled under the weight of her love. Marry me, he said. She blinked. What? Marry me, not someday when things are safe. Now, tomorrow, whenever you'll say yes. He dropped to his knees, taking her hands. I don't have a ring. I don't have a plan. All I have is the absolute certainty that I want to spend whatever time I have left on this earth as your husband. You're serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. The feds don't care. The raids, the investigations, all of it, none of it matters compared to you. Your mother's going to be insufferable. She's already insufferable. Olivia laughed through her tears. This is the worst proposal in history. Is that a no? It's a yes, you idiot. It's always been a yes. She pulled him up, kissing him hard. But we're getting a ring before we tell your mother. I'm not facing Carmela Rossi without proof. They got the ring the next morning, a simple band with a diamond that caught light like a promise. Olivia stared at it, on her finger, tears streaming. It's perfect. You're perfect. Shut up. I'm trying to have a moment here. They told Carmela that afternoon. She cried, blessed them, and immediately started planning a wedding for 200 people. Mama, we were thinking something small. Small, Luca. You're the head of the family. This wedding will be an event. We really don't need. Hush. The invitations go out tomorrow. She pulled out a notebook already full of lists. Now, Olivia, about the dress. Luca left them to it, heading to his office where Antonio and Marco waited with updates. The news wasn't good. The feds are moving faster than we thought, Antonio said. Vincent says they want to make arrests within the month. Then we move faster. Luca studied the files Antonio had brought. Start liquidating assets. Anything that can't be traced, move it offshore. Anything that can shut it down, Marco finished. Boss, that's half your empire. Then I'll rebuild with the other half, or I won't. Either way, I'm not giving the feds anything they can use. And if that's not enough, Antonio asked quietly, if they come after you anyway, then I face it, but not until after I marry Olivia. They can wait that long. The wedding planning consumed the next 2 weeks. Carmela was in her element, coordinating with florists and caterers and the priest who'd baptized Luca. Olivia tried to stay involved, but got overwhelmed. Your mother just asked me to choose between 17 shades of white, she told Luca one night. I didn't even know there were 17 shades of white. Just tell her you like whatever she picks. I tried that. She said it was my wedding and I needed to have opinions. Then have opinions. I do. My opinion is that we should have eloped. He laughed, pulling her onto the couch. 2 more weeks, then we'll be married and Mama will have to find someone else to terrorize. Bold of you to assume she'll stop. Fair point. His phone rang, Vincent voice shaking. Mr. Rossi, the feds just called. They want to meet with me tomorrow. They say they have new evidence. What kind of evidence? They wouldn't say, but they sounded confident. I think they might be ready to move. Luca's blood went cold. Did they mention me specifically? No, but they asked about your schedule for the next month. I didn't tell them about the wedding, I swear. Good, keep it that way. He hung up, met Olivia's worried eyes. They're coming. Went in soon, maybe before the wedding. She stood pacing. Okay, we can handle this. Olivia. No, I'm not losing you now. Not when we're this close. She grabbed her phone. I'm calling in every favor we have, every lawyer, every contact, everyone who owes us. If the feds want you, they're going to have to go through an army of attorneys first. That might not be enough. Then we'll make it enough. She kissed him fiercely. I didn't survive getting shot and kidnapped just to lose you to a bunch of federal agents. We're getting married, Luca, and nothing is going to stop that. Her determination was beautiful and terrifying. Luca pulled her close, breathing in her scent, memorizing this moment. I love you, he said. I love you too. Now let's go to war with the justice system. The next week was chaos. Lawyers descended on Luca's office building defenses, preparing for every possible scenario. Vincent fed the feds carefully selected information, leading them away from anything truly incriminating. And through it all, Carmela planned a wedding like the world wasn't ending. 3 days before the ceremony, the feds made their move. 20 agents stormed Luca's office with a warrant for his arrest. Luca Rossi, you're under arrest for racketeering, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. Olivia appeared from nowhere, stepping between Luca and the lead agent. Do you have any idea who you're arresting? Ma'am, step aside. His lawyers will have him out in 6 hours. Whatever case you think you have, it won't hold. We have 3 years of financial records testimony from multiple sources and physical evidence linking him to a dozen crimes. You have circumstantial evidence and the word of known criminals. Try again. She held up her phone. I've already called every news outlet in the city. By the time you get him to booking, there will be cameras everywhere. Are you really ready for that kind of attention? The agent hesitated. In that moment, Luca saw what Olivia had become, not just his partner, but his equal, a force of nature in her own right. Ma'am, his wedding is in 3 days. 3 days. Then you can arrest him, prosecute him, do whatever you want. But right now you're interrupting a celebration that half the city is invited to, including the mayor and the police commissioner and 3 city councilmen. She smiled and it was all teeth. Still want to make a scene? The agent looked at Luca, then at Olivia, then at the crowd gathering in the office. He was trapped and he knew it. 3 days, he said finally. After the wedding, he comes in voluntarily, or we come back with every agent in the city. Deal. The feds left and Olivia sagged against Luca, shaking. Did you just blackmail federal agents with our wedding? I told you nothing was going to stop us from getting married. She looked up at him. But Luca, after the wedding, they're coming back. We need a plan. I know. He kissed her forehead. But for 3 days, let's just pretend we're normal people getting married. Normal people don't have federal agents crashing their bachelor party. Then will be extraordinary people getting married. The day of the wedding dawned clear and bright. Carmela cried while helping Olivia into her dress. The church filled with family, both blood and chosen. And when Luca stood at the altar, watching Olivia walk toward him, everything else fell away. The feds, the investigations, the danger, none of it mattered. All that mattered was this woman, this moment, this promise they were making to each other. Dearly beloved, the priest began. Luca barely heard the words. He was too busy memorizing Olivia's face, the way she smiled at him, the tears in her eyes that matched his own. Do you, Luca Dante Rossi, take this woman? I do. He didn't wait for the rest of the question. I absolutely do. Laughter rippled through the church. The priest smiled. And do you, Olivia Marie Chen? I do, she interrupted. So much. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Luca pulled her close and kissed her like it was the first time and the last time and every time in between. The church erupted in applause, but he barely heard it. All he heard was Olivia whispering against his lips, "We did it. We're actually married." "We're actually married," he repeated, awed. The reception was everything Carmela had dreamed, music and dancing, and enough food to feed an army. Luca danced with his wife, the words still foreign and wonderful on his tongue, and let himself pretend that this happiness could last forever. But at midnight, Antonio pulled him aside. "Boss, the feds are outside. They say your 3 days are up. It's only been 1 day. Wedding day plus 2 days before. They're counting differently." Of course they were. Luca looked across the room at Olivia laughing with his mother, her dress swirling around her. His wife, his everything. "Tell them I'll be out in 5 minutes. Luca, 5 minutes, Antonio. Let me say goodbye to my wife." He found Olivia near the cake, and she took one look at his face and knew. "They're here." "Yeah. Do we run?" "No, He cupped her face. "Running just delays the inevitable. And I'm tired of running. Then I'm coming with you. Olivia. No arguments. You're my husband now. Where you go, I go." She grabbed her coat. "Besides, someone needs to make sure you don't punch any federal agents." "I would never." "You absolutely would." She was right. He absolutely would. They walked out together, hand in hand, to where the federal agents waited with handcuffs and warrants. Behind them, their wedding guests spilled out of the reception hall bearing witness. "Luca Rossi," the lead agent said. "It's time." "I know." He kissed Olivia one last time. "I'll see you soon." "You better." Tears streamed down her face. "Because I didn't just become Mrs. Rossi to be a widow before our honeymoon." "Not happening, I promise." They cuffed him and led him away, and he looked back to see Olivia standing there in her wedding dress, surrounded by family, looking like a warrior queen ready to burn the world down. And he knew with absolute certainty that she would, that she'd fight for him with everything she had, that their story wasn't ending, it was just beginning a new chapter, one where they faced everything together, no matter the cost. The federal holding cell smelled like disinfectant in desperation. Luca sat on the metal bench, still wearing his wedding suit, and tried not to think about Olivia standing outside in her white dress watching him get arrested. He'd survived bullets and betrayals, but that image might actually break him. The door opened. A woman in an expensive suit walked in, her heels clicking against concrete. She wasn't a federal agent, too polished, too confident. "Mr. Rossi, I'm Diana Chambers. Your wife hired me." "Olivia hired you when?" "About 45 minutes ago. She called from the church steps and offered me double my usual rate to get you out tonight." Diana sat across from him, opening her briefcase. "She's quite persuasive when motivated." That's one word for it. The charges are serious: racketeering money, laundering, conspiracy. But the evidence is circumstantial. Financial records that could mean anything, testimony from criminals with axes to grind. She pulled out files. "Your wife has already provided alternative explanations for every transaction they're questioning. Legitimate business expenses, documented charitable donations, investments in legal enterprises." Olivia did all that in 45 minutes. "Actually, she's been building this defense for 6 months. Every financial move you've made since you got together, she's documented with legitimate cover stories." Diana smiled. "She said she knew this day would come. She just didn't expect it to be your wedding night." Luca's throat tightened. While he'd been trying to protect her, she'd been protecting him. building cases, creating paper trails, preparing for the war he'd hoped would never come. Can you get me out? Bail hearing is in 2 hours. With your wife's documentation and my arguments, I'd say chances are good. Diana stood. But Mr. Rossi, whatever happens next, you need to be smart. The feds don't arrest people on their wedding day unless they're desperate to make a point. Someone powerful wants you gone. Any idea who? Working on it. Your wife has some theories. Of course she did. Luca almost laughed. He'd married a force of nature disguised as an assistant. 2 hours later, he walked out of federal custody on $2 million bail. Olivia was waiting still in her wedding dress, mascara smudged from crying, but her eyes blazing with determination. "Hey, wife," he said. "Hey, convict." She threw herself at him, and he caught her breathing in her perfume mixed with the smell of church incense. "Don't ever do that to me again. Get arrested. Leave me standing there watching you get taken away. Next time we run." "There won't be a next time." "Damn right there won't." She pulled back her hands on his face. "Because we're ending this. Tonight. No more playing defense. We're going on offense." Olivia, Diana found something. A connection between the federal prosecutor and the Russos. Money changing hands, favors being traded. They're using the justice system as a weapon. That's not exactly shocking in my world. No, but it's illegal in theirs. Her smile was sharp. And if we can prove it, everything falls apart. The case gets thrown out, the prosecutor loses his job, and we get our lives back. How do we prove it? We have an inside source, someone who's been watching this whole thing and is ready to talk. Who? The hotel suite door opened. Francesco Moretti walked in looking nervous. "Rossi, congratulations on the wedding. Sorry about the arrest." "Francesco." Luca's hand moved to where his gun would be if the feds hadn't confiscated it. "What are you doing here? Helping." "Believe it or not." Francesco held up his hands. "After you helped clear me of killing my father, I've been watching, trying to figure out who really did it. And I found something." "The Russos," Olivia said. "They killed Giovanni to frame you and destabilize the families. Then they paid off the prosecutor to go after Luca while everyone was distracted." "But why?" Luca asked. "What do they gain?" "Everything." Francesco pulled out his phone, showed them photos. "They've been quietly buying up territory from the other families, offering protection, making deals. With you gone and me discredited, they plan to be the only family left standing." "That's ambitious. That's suicide," Antonio said from the doorway. He'd been listening along with Marco. "If we expose them, the other families will turn. It'll be war." "Then we give them war." Luca looked at each person in the room, his wife, his men, even Francesco. "But smart war, strategic war. We feed the evidence to the feds, let them take down the prosecutor. Then we present the families with proof of the Russos' betrayal and let them handle it." "You want the families to do your dirty work?" Francesco asked. "I want justice that doesn't require me going to prison." Luca pulled Olivia close. "I just got married. I'd like to actually enjoy being a husband before I'm someone's cellmate." "Romantic," Olivia deadpanned, "but effective. How do we start?" "We start with Vincent. He's been feeding the feds information. Let's have him feed them something useful." Luca grabbed his phone, dialed. "Vincent, time to earn your second chance. I need you to mention the Russo connection to your handler. Make it sound accidental, like you're nervous and letting things slip." By morning, the plan was in motion. Vincent planted seeds with his FBI handler. Diana Chambers filed motions highlighting the prosecutor's suspicious finances. And Francesco reached out to the other family heads with carefully edited evidence of Russo treachery. Olivia coordinated everything from the hotel suite, still wearing sweatpants, and Luca's dress shirt, her wedding dress abandoned in a corner. "You know what's ridiculous?" she said, staring at 3 laptops simultaneously. "We've been married for 18 hours, and we haven't even had a wedding night. We could take a break. We're in the middle of taking down a corrupt prosecutor and preventing a mob war. So that's a no. That's a ask me again when you're not facing 20 years in prison." She looked up and her eyes softened. "Rain check. I'm holding you to that." The breakthrough came 3 days later. The FBI agent handling Vincent came forward with evidence of the prosecutor's corruption. Apparently, some federal agents actually cared about justice over politics. The prosecutor was suspended pending investigation. "We did it?" Olivia breathed, reading the news alert. The case is postponed indefinitely. Not dismissed, Luca cautioned, but it's a start. It's more than a start. Without their prosecutor, the feds have nothing. And with Francesco's evidence spreading through the families, the Russos are about to face their own reckoning. She was right. 2 days later, the families called a sit-down. Everyone except the Russos. Luca attended with Olivia at his side, her hand in his, presenting a united front. The evidence is clear, Castellano said, sliding papers across the table. The Russos have been working against all of us, paying off prosecutors, killing family heads, trying to consolidate power. So what do we do? Leone asked, though everyone knew the answer. We vote, Francesco said quietly. The Russos are out. Their territory gets divided among the remaining families. And anyone who worked with them faces consequences. The vote was unanimous. By sunset, federal agents were raiding Russo properties, finding enough evidence to put the entire family away for decades. The mob had fed the justice system exactly what it needed, and both sides got what they wanted. It's over, Olivia said that night, standing in their penthouse finally as husband and wife. It's actually over. For now, Luca pulled her close. There's always another war coming. Then we'll face it together like we faced this one. You saved me. You know that, right? The documentation, the legal defense, the strategy, all of it was you. That's what partners do. She kissed him softly. Besides, I had selfish motivations. I really wanted that honeymoon. About that, he produced an envelope from his jacket. 2 weeks, private island. No phones, no business, no mob politics, just us. When do we leave? Tonight, right now. I have a car waiting. Luca, we can't just... She stopped seeing his face. We absolutely can, can't we? We just took down a corrupt prosecutor and prevented a war. I think we've earned a vacation. What about your business? The families. Antonio can handle it. Francesco's helping coordinate between families. And you left detailed instructions for everything else. He cupped her face. Olivia, we've spent 6 months fighting for survival. Let's spend 2 weeks just living. She searched his eyes, and whatever she saw there made her smile. Okay, let's go. They left that night, slipping away while the city was distracted with the Russo arrests. The island was paradise, white sand, clear water, and absolute privacy. No guards, no guns, no looking over shoulders. This is weird, Olivia said, their first morning lying in bed watching the sunrise through open windows. What is being this relaxed? I keep waiting for something to go wrong. Nothing's going to go wrong. You don't know that? I know that for 2 weeks we're not the mob boss and his partner. We're just Luca and Olivia, 2 people who love each other and deserve some peace. He rolled to face her. So let me give you peace. Please. She kissed him, and it was different than before. Slower, softer. They had time now. No urgency, no fear that this might be their last moment together. I love you, she whispered against his lips. I love you too. They spent 2 weeks existing outside their normal world, swimming at midnight, making love on the beach, talking about dreams that didn't involve survival or strategy. Olivia mentioned wanting kids someday, and Luca realized he wanted that too. Wanted to build something beyond his empire. Wanted a future. Do you think we can really do this? She asked one night, wrapped in his arms under the stars. Have a normal life. Our life will never be normal. You know what I mean? Kids' family dinners, PTA meetings. PTA meetings? He laughed. You really think I'm going to PTA meetings? You're going to whatever meetings I drag you to. That was in the wedding vows. I don't remember that part. It was implied. He kissed her hair. Then yes, I think we can do this. Not normal, but ours. Our own version of family. With armed guards at the school pickups. Obviously. She laughed, and the sound was joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy. But all vacations end. They returned to the city to find things had shifted in their absence. Francesco had consolidated power in the Moretti family and was pushing for legitimate business ventures. The other families were following suit, tired of constant war and federal attention. It's a new era, Antonio explained in their first meeting back. Everyone's going legit, or at least trying to look legit. And us, Luca asked. That's your call, boss. We can keep doing what we're doing, or we can follow the trend. Luca looked at Olivia. She'd been quiet since they got back processing the changes. What do you think? He asked her. I think the world's changing, and we can change with it or get left behind. She stood, moved to the window overlooking the city. But Luca, if we go legitimate, you need to commit. No half measures. No keeping one foot in the old world while stepping into the new. You're saying I needed to go completely straight. I'm saying you need to decide what kind of life you want, what kind of legacy you want to build. She turned to face him. Because if we're having kids, if we're building a family, I need to know they'll be safe, that they won't grow up like you did watching their father fight wars. The room went silent. This was the line Olivia had never drawn before, the ultimatum she'd avoided. Choose the life or choose me. That's not fair, Luca said quietly. No, it's not, but it's necessary. Her voice broke. I love you. God, I love you so much it terrifies me. But I can't raise children in constant fear. I can't watch our kids wonder if daddy's coming home from work or coming home in a coffin. You knew what I was when you married me. I did, and I accepted it. But things are different now. Her hand moved to her stomach and Luca's world tilted. Olivia, I'm pregnant. 3 words. 3 words that changed everything. Your how long have you known? I found out yesterday. Took a test at the doctor's office while you were meeting with Antonio. Tears streamed down her face. I'm 8 weeks along. It happened right before the wedding. Luca crossed to her, his hands shaking as he touched her face. We're having a baby. We're having a baby, and I need to know what kind of world we're bringing them into. He looked around the office at the evidence of his empire. The power he'd built, the respect he'd earned, all of it purchased with blood and violence. Then he looked at Olivia carrying his child, offering him something more valuable than any territory or title. A future. A real future. Okay, he said. Okay. Okay, we go legitimate completely. We sell off anything illegal, transition the businesses, do whatever it takes. He pressed his forehead to hers. You and our baby are more important than any of this. You mean that? I've never meant anything more in my life. Antonio cleared his throat. Boss, if you're serious about going legit, I have some contacts. People who've made the transition successfully. Set up meetings, all of them. Luca kept his eyes on Olivia. We're starting over, building something clean. That's going to take time, Marco warned. Years maybe, and not everyone's going to be happy about it. Then they can be unhappy somewhere else. This is happening. The transition wasn't easy. Some of his men left unwilling to give up the life. Others stayed intrigued by the challenge of going legitimate. Luca sold territories to families who wanted them, liquidated illegal operations, and poured everything into legal businesses. Construction, real estate, import-export with actual legal products. It was boring and frustrating and required more patience than any mob war. But every time he wanted to quit, he'd look at Olivia's growing belly and remember why he was doing this. 6 months into the transition, Diana Chambers called with news. The federal case is officially dismissed. The prosecutor's facing charges of his own, and without him, they have nothing. It's really over, Olivia asked, her hand on her very pregnant stomach. It's really over. Luca Rossi is officially a free man. They celebrated quietly that night, just the two of them. Olivia was 8 months pregnant now, moving slowly, complaining about swollen feet and backaches. But she'd never looked more beautiful to Luca. What are you thinking? She asked, catching him staring. That I'm the luckiest man alive. Even though you gave up your empire. I didn't give it up. I traded it for something better. He knelt beside her chair, his hand on her belly. For you, for our baby, for a life that doesn't end with bullets and blood. No regrets. Only that I didn't do this sooner. The baby came 3 weeks later, a girl with Olivia's eyes and Luca's stubborn chin. They named her Sophia after Luca's grandmother. Carmela cried for an hour straight, holding her granddaughter like she was made of glass and miracles. She's perfect, Carmela whispered. Absolutely perfect. She is. Luca agreed, unable to look away from his daughter's tiny face. She really is. That night alone with Olivia and Sophia in the hospital room, Luca felt something shift inside him. All the violence, all the anger, all the darkness he'd carried for so long, it didn't disappear, but it quieted, became something he could control rather than something that controlled him. You okay? Olivia asked sleepily. Better than okay. He kissed her forehead, then their daughters. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. The years that followed weren't perfect. The transition to legitimate business had its struggles. Some people resented the change. Others questioned whether Luca had gone soft. But gradually, undeniably, things stabilized. The construction company became one of the city's most successful. The real estate portfolio expanded. And Luca Rossi, once feared as a ruthless mob boss, became known as a shrewd but honest businessman. It's boring, Marco complained one day. They were at a construction site reviewing plans for a new building. No excitement, no danger. That's the point, Luca said. Boring means safe. Safe means my daughter doesn't grow up watching her father go to war. Still, you don't miss it. The rush, the power. Sometimes. Luca thought about it honestly. But then I go home and Sophia runs to the door shouting, "Daddy." And Olivia's making dinner and our second baby is kicking in her belly. And I realize this is better. This is everything I fought for without knowing what I was fighting for. You're pregnant again. Marco's eyes widened. Does Olivia know you're announcing it before she's ready? She told me I could tell you. She's already told half the city anyway. Lucas smiled. We're having a boy this time. She wants to name him Michael after my father. Your father would be proud of all of it. The business, the family, the man you've become. I hope so. 5 years after that wedding height arrest, Luca and Olivia stood on the balcony of their home, watching their children play in the yard below. Sophia was 5 now, bossing around her 3-year-old brother Michael, with the confidence of a future CEO. A third baby, another girl they'd named Grace, slept in Olivia's arms. We did it, Olivia said softly. We actually did it. Did what? Built a life, a real life, not just surviving, but thriving. She leaned against him. When I first started working for you, I never imagined this. Never imagined that the scary mob boss would become my husband, the father of my children, the love of my life. When I first hired you, I never imagined you'd destroy and rebuild me in equal measure. Destroy you, in the best way. You broke down every wall I'd built, every defense I thought I needed. And then you helped me build something better in its place. He kissed her temple. I was surviving before you. Just surviving? You taught me how to live. That's the most romantic thing you've ever said to me. I'm getting better at this. You are. Only took you 7 years. They laughed, and below them their children laughed too. Carmela appeared in the yard, scooping up Sophia and spinning her around. Antonio and Marco arrived for Sunday dinner, as they did every week, Marco's new wife, trailing behind him, looking slightly overwhelmed by the chaos. This was family, not blood and violence and betrayal, but love and laughter and the beautiful mess of people choosing each other every single day. Any regrets? Olivia asked the question she'd asked so many times over the years. And for the first time, Luca could answer without hesitation, without doubt, without any shadow of his old life creeping in. Not a single one. This us, the kids, this life we built, this is everything I never knew I needed. You're everything I never knew I needed. Even though I complicated everything, turned your world upside down, especially because of that. You didn't just save me, Olivia. You gave me a reason to want to be saved. And that made all the difference. She kissed him as the sun set over their home, their children, their future. And in that moment, Luca knew with absolute certainty that choosing love over power, family over empire, Olivia over everything, it was the smartest decision he'd ever made. Because in the end, she hadn't just been his assistant. She'd been his salvation, his partner, his everything. And that was worth more than any territory, any title, any amount of power the old world could have offered. They'd fought through hell together, bullets and betrayals, arrests and wars. But they'd emerged on the other side, not just surviving, but genuinely, completely, impossibly happy. And that, Luca thought as he held his wife and watched his children play, was the greatest victory of all.